It depends upon what period of time I was here as a volunteer, but most of the time I was in a building someplace. And I would greet the visitors as they came in, describe the building to them, what it contained and what its meaning was, and ask them where they came from, and tried to be friendly with them, and just see them on their way, depending upon how much time they had to visit in that building. One of my most challenging moments as a volunteer at Landis Valley, it's hard to think of the most challenging one. The most challenging ones are sometimes the quietest ones. Like the time I was sitting down in the log house by a window, reading a book, and a voice comes by and says, "Oh, look, there's a dummy." Now, what do you say? No, I'm not. Hey, quit it, or whatever else. But there's a lot of times they're quiet mostly, not like the time the bus came down the main road. Harvest days. One of my best memories is harvest days. It's always harvest days at Landis Valley in the fall, because it's a beautiful time and everybody loves it there, and all the crafts people are there and the horses are out. And everybody is being friendly with everyone else, so it's a wonderful time. I'm going to miss it this year. It's not going to be altogether what it was. What has inspired me to spend much time at Landis Valley over the years? I'm a historian. And this is a good history. This is a place where the history is largely unexplored. The Pennsylvania Dutch are not examined by American historians. There's a lot going on here, a lot you can explain, a lot of people coming through that you can talk to about it. And it has a lot of opportunities. As a matter of fact, once I started here back in the 1980s, I went back to college at Millersville and completed 2 years of college, including advancing my math skills, because they weren't adequate, to enhance my abilities here at Landis Valley Museum. So I'm a college graduate from 1994. Well, my ritual at Landis Valley Museum beneficially, it gives you a place to go on vacation. You get interested in this sort of thing in museums like this, and you say to your husband, "Well, this year we're going to Maine and we're going to go visit all the New England museums and see what the the living history museums all over the Northeast." He says, "Fine." He said, "You can have all your cameras and all your gear, and you can bring it all along, and you can take pictures." We had a wonderful time. He took pictures, and I visited living history museums, and I learned a lot from that. I learned how they managed what they did. What matters most to me about Landis Valley? To the community. My friends have come to be all here. There are other historians, there are other people who are interested in the same thing I am. There are people we can go places together and do things together. It's my family. When you move here, it's hard to move into Lancaster County, especially in the 1970s. It was pretty close around here. And there were very many places to live. So I was living over in Valley Brook, which is right across from Landis Valley, and one afternoon, I was taking care of my 6-week-old baby, and I heard a calliope playing. And I said to my husband, "Take the other 4 and go find out why the calliope is playing." And we landed up here. What do they learn when they're visiting Landis Valley Museum? Well, it depends upon, to tell you the truth, my mood of the day. If I'm into architecture, it also depends on the building. It's a lot of it is about, Landis Valley is set up as a series of time capsules. And if you were in a building that is exhibiting one particular time period, you want them to learn about that time period. If you're giving a walking tour of them from one to the other, you want them to understand how things changed over a period of time. So it depends upon where you're set and what you're doing. You have to be very flexible. And it depends upon what the visitors are interested in. If you have a visitor interested only in pottery, you go around finding pieces of pottery for them to look at. What would I say to a young adult to encourage them to visit? They have horses. That's what my grandchildren have learned to drive horses, and they think that's the most wonderful thing that ever happened. Young adults, it's a whole different world. You're out here and it's totally peaceful. You sit in the porch of a place and you're ready to talk to visitors, but there's nothing going on, except the clopping of a horse occasionally. But there's absolute stillness. And it's not very often you find a place where you can just sit and think and there's absolute stillness. Maybe they'll find something away from the rush of modern day life. A typical day at Landis Valley is going to the building and waiting, either doing a craft or reading or some history or something like that. I'm waiting for the visitors to show up. That's a lot of times on a rainy day, that may take quite a while. Especially in a building like this, it's so far away from everything else. What is it about the quietness and stillness of a rustic site? I really, it's hard to put into words what it is. It's just the satisfaction of sitting there and nothing is going on. There's nobody mowing the grass. There's nobody, there's a cow. You know, there's the horses. There's nothing, it's old-fashioned. It's back in history. It really does take you back to another time when nothing much was going on a lot of the time, but your life was still very busy because you worked very hard. And nowadays we can sit and enjoy it.